Good day, everyone. I am Carla Anastasio, and today I will be discussing the Principle 13, Review Your Grammar, and Principle 14, Revise and Sharpen of Module 3. So, we are now already in the Module 3, which is all about writing print communication materials. Basically, this module teaches us the various principles and practices involved in the work of each member of the print material design and production team. Let's have a short review with our previous topics, beginning with the writer's job. Writing is a basic skill everyone must practice since almost 90% of all communication is done through writing. Also, previous reporters have already discussed the importance of achieving readability, as well as the two kinds of vocabularies, which are the recognition vocabulary and use vocabulary. Now, moving forward, in this discussion, we will be tackling about the principles of clear and effective writing. So for the first principle, we have think first, then write. Principle 2, use simple, short, and familiar words. Principle 3, get straight to the point. Principle 4, use specific, concrete language. Principle 5, avoid using jargon or too many technical terms. Principle 6, be careful when using idioms. Principle 7, keep your sentences short. Principle 8, prefer the active to the passive voice. Principle 9, avoid dangling modifiers. Principle 10, keep your paragraph short. Principle 11, arrange your material logically. Principle 12, strive for a smooth flow of ideas. And for the last two principles, which will be discussed later on, Principle 13, review your grammar. And lastly, Principle 14, revise and sharpen. Let's start with Principle 13, review your grammar. Grammar serves as a foundation of clear communication. It's about making sure that your sentences are both structurally correct and easy to understand. John Hohenberg, a Pulitzer Prize awardee, emphasized that correct grammatical usage is crucial in journalism. There are no exceptions. This applies to anyone in any form of writing. Now, let's discuss some common grammatical concerns that often cause confusion. First, we have the subject-verb agreement. Second is about tenses. Third is about articles. And lastly, about adverbs. So one of the most frequent issues is about the subject-verb agreement. So this is where the subject and the verb in a sentence must match in number. So how does subject-verb agreement work? If a subject is singular, use the singular form of the verb. If the subject is plural, use the plural form of the verb. The only exception to this rule is the verb be, which uses different forms based on both number and person. So here's an example. We study our modules at our own personal pace. So if the subject is plural, you must use a plural verb form. She studies her modules at her own personal pace. The subject here is singular, then we must use the singular verb form. Tenses. A tense is a form of the verb that allows you to express time. Tense of the verb tells us when an event or something existed or when a person did something. Past, present, and future are the three main types of tenses. For an example, it is not logical to say, it rains the most of yesterday, but rather, it is correct to say that yesterday, it rained throughout most of the day. Second example, it is not logical to say that Copernicus said the Earth moved around the sun, but rather, it is correct to say Copernicus said the Earth moves around the sun. Articles. Articles a, on, and the are determiners or noun markers that function to specify if the noun is general or specific in its reference. Often, the article chosen depends on if the writer and the reader understand the reference of the noun. Using different articles can change the meaning of the following sentence. Mervyn sent a message through email versus Mervyn sent a message through email. Mervyn sent a message is a general message. Meanwhile, Mervin sent the message is a specific one. Also, be mindful when using adverbs. A simple rule to master: if you are describing a noun, use an adjective. If you are describing or modifying a verb, use an adverb. For an example, it is incorrect to say, Leonard sipped his milk tea slow, but rather, it is correct to say that Leonard sipped his milk tea slowly. Now, let's move on to Principle 14, revise and sharpen. Once you've ensured your grammar is correct, it's important to take a step back and revise your work. Revision is the process of seeing your writing with fresh eyes, rethinking your arguments, improving clarity, and fine-tuning the structure. When it comes to writing, revision is an essential step. While initial drafts are necessary for capturing ideas, it's in revision that you refine your message and sharpen your words for clarity, impact, and precision. Revising involves examining not just grammar or punctuation, but also the structure and flow of your ideas. Each time you revisit your work, you have the opportunity to make it stronger, clearer, and more compelling. Ernest Hemingway's approach, rewriting the last paragraph multiple times, is a testament to the importance of perfection in writing. While it's not recommended to obsess over every sentence to the extent, his example shows that revising can help you get closer to the core of what you're trying to communicate. Writing is a craft, and every draft you create helps you mold your final product. So here are some practical steps to extend your revision process. First is to step away first. So after you complete your draft, you give yourself some distance from the work before returning to it. Fresh eyes help you see issues you might have missed. The second practical step is to focus on the big picture. In your first revision, focus on content and structure. Is your message clear? Does each part of your piece serve the overall purpose? Is there any redundancy? The third practical step is to clarify language. Look at your word choice, sentence structure, and flow. Are there places where your writing is awkward or unclear? Can your sentences be tighter? For the fourth practical step is to seek feedback. A second opinion can provide you insights that you may have missed. A trusted peer or mentor can help you highlight unclear areas or provide suggestions for improvement. And lastly, edit meticulously. After the larger revisions, focus on grammar, punctuation, and formatting to ensure a polished final piece. Each round of revision brings you closer to a well-honed piece of writing. Even if you don't rewrite the same paragraph hundreds of times like Hemingway, taking the time to review and sharpen will always make your work improved. Ask yourself the following questions. First, have I made the message clear? Second, does my article have coherence and focus? Third, is it immediately evident to my readers where the discussion is leading? Fourth, do the ideas flow smoothly? And lastly, are the sentences grammatical? As a recap of what we have discussed, so Module 3 focused on the production of print development communication materials. It is a complex process involving many people. Design and production of print communication materials is a team effort, and members of the team includes the writer, the editor, the illustrator, the layout artist, and the printers. For the principles I have discussed, we have the Principle 13 and the Principle 14. Principle 13, review your grammar. Basically discussed about the importance of using correct grammar in writing. It is too risky to think that when something sounds right, it is probably right. Meanwhile, for Principle 14, Revise and Sharpen, it is crucial to review and revise your work even though it may feel tiring after already spending a significant time on it. Constant revision is important in producing better quality of work. And now, for our discussion points, I want you to answer these two questions. First, what do you think is the impact of artificial intelligence or AI, such as the use of Grammarly in news writing? For our second discussion point, please answer, what is your perspective on someone making substantial revisions to your news article? How would you respond if they change its main points or messages? So that's it for my discussion, and here are my references. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you learned a thing or two. Once again, I'm Carla Anastasio, and have a nice day ahead.